I love playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. With the regular paper format having just recovered from a long year of Snake Eye dominance, only for that same deck ready to return in about a month, I find it better just to play a game where the best deck makes a couple of XYZs each turn and passes. The shift in the format is less to do with the available card pool in the franchise's requisite mobile game, though the lack of problematic staples is certainly nice. No, this drastic difference is in the addition of skills, a unique mechanic in the speed duel format. Skills are a bonus you can include with your traditional card lineup that do some pretty cool things. From a simple consistency boost, to giving specific cards new properties, to unleashing alien superpowers, yes really. The fact that Duel Links is a digital-only platform allows for stuff to get really wild. In this video, I thought I would show off some of my favorite personal skills. And don't worry, I've made sure these don't have massive walls of texts like some Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, so you can potentially understand them this millennium. And before we get going, remember to click all the YouTube buttons. Okay, let's duel! Out of all the skills, the most vanilla in my opinion is Atem's Destiny Draw. Once your life points have been decreased by 2,000, your next draw can be any card you wish from your deck, allowing you to get the exact card you need for the situation you're stuck in. It's pretty useful, but compared to the other skills available, it's destined to be surpassed by better options that are more specific. But if you don't have anything more specific for the deck you want to use, then this is a perfectly useful basic starting point. Speaking of which, one of those specific skills is Territory of the Sharks, which is pretty simple to explain. With the restriction that the only monsters in your deck are water, and you play a shark, you can make all the water monsters on your field, into a level, become level 4. Not only does this allow you to XYZ summon super easily, but this level of level manipulation can even facilitate easier synchro summons, if you wait to summon certain materials, so that you can guarantee your levels line up. There is certainly a lot of territory for exploration here, even with all the other skills that facilitate the pool of water XYZ cards, to the fact that this skill still sees play today in generic water decks. Some more of that exploration can be seen in the recent Lulu exclusive skill Lyralusk Rising Bird. It locks all your summons to winged beasts, and then further locks your extra decks into only dark and wind XYZs, but the benefit is crazy. While your opponent has a card on their field or in the graveyard, you can reveal any winged beast XYZs in your extra deck, then all the Lyralusks on your field jumped up their levels to match that monster's rank. They are normally all level 1, so this allows them to access a wide variety of monsters. Although with the summoning restriction, that mostly means just borrowing her brother Shay's Raid Raptors, it also includes some neat techs like Castel the Sky Blaster Musketeer, which I think is pretty neat, especially for such a new character. But XYZ isn't the only thing these skills can help out with, and for an example of that, here's Edge Imp Retrofit. This Sora exclusive skill does two things. First, it simply allows you to swap an Edge Imp monster in your hand or on your field with another one from your deck. This is nice because there's a lot of fluffle cards that let you only search Edge Imp sites specifically, when you would rather have literally anything else. The other thing this skill can do is expand on a fairly useless Fright for Bear, by allowing you to just automatically equip an opponent's monster to it. It's an equip now, they can't stop it, which is quite a potent form of removal, especially considering no player can respond to skills, this doesn't target, and it doesn't destroy the card, so it's on your field instead, so your opponent can't even use it to pay for any resources. Now you are locked to only summoning Fright for monsters and its variant component archetypes, unless the summon is coming from the extra deck, but the trade-off is certainly worth it if you're planning to go all in on that deck. From here is where things get silly. See, a skill I'm sure a lot of people have heard of before is Storm Access, as Playmaker and Varus use it quite a lot in the Vrains anime. Well, they have the same skill in Duel Links, which you might find weird. How can the game execute a skill that literally makes new cards out of nowhere when you have 1,000 or less life points? Well, the skill does exactly that. Pulling from a pool of every code talker minus the minus access code and the link to regular Code Talker for Playmaker and a pool of all 4 topologics for Varus, the skill can literally create new cards. It's super cool, right? But wait, there's more. Playmaker's version of the skill starts you with a free copy of Firewall Dragon and Decode Talker in addition to whatever cards you are already playing in your extra deck. They're just there. You don't even need to own any copies of them in general. You could just use them. Pretty cool, huh? Another skill with a similar feature to this is the oddly named You Can't Reduce My Life Points, a Spectre skill that, if you have Sun Avalon Dryatrentia in your extra deck, you are just handed the rest of the Sun Avalon extra deck at the start, in addition to boosting your starting life points by 1200. Additionally, once per turn, each time you summon a Sunseed, Sunvine, or Sun Avalon, you can gain 12,000 more life points. This deck is pretty clearly meant to help Sun Avalon synergize with the other plant-based strategies such as a Romage or Rika, even though the latter is not presently in Duel Links, but it's the thought that counts. Since Sun Avalon takes up quite a lot of your extra deck slots, and Duel Links only has 8 slots to go around to begin with, this helps cut down on how much space and the engine and to summon powerful monsters like Dryatrentia take up, giving you more freedom to play other cards such as Aromaseraphy Jasmine or any Synchros you may wish to play. But the extra deck isn't the only place skills can make new cards. Take, for example, Mythic Depths, a skill that is only usable by Mako Tsunami, the freaky fish guy. It makes you start with the field spell Umi on your field at the beginning of the duel. Nothing much, you just get a free copy of Umi. There are a bunch of skills like this for various field spells, such as Mountain or Forest, but I've highlighted this one specifically because there are several cards and decks that care about having the Umi field spell, or a card with the name, on the field. With this skill, you don't have to worry about spending resources early on trying to find an Umi, since you'll just have it for free. The last 3 skills I want to bring up are a tad more complex. For example, Salamandra and Phoenix can be used by both Joey and Soulburner, and allows you to normal summon both the Gemini monster Phoenix Gearfried and the non-Gemini Immortal Phoenix Gearfried without tributing, which is nice as both of those are level 8s, which would normally require 2 tributes. Additionally, you can reveal an Immortal Phoenix Gearfried in your hand, specifically the Immortal version, to set the equip spell Salamandra and send a legendary sword straight to the graveyard without having to play those cards in your deck. These are very simple equip spells that merely give a slight attack increase, but Immortal Phoenix Gearfried's effects care about having equip spells on the field and in the graveyard, setting this up to be easily used. This is meant to help it synergize with Infernoble Knight, a Fire Warrior deck that cares about equip spells, strongly implied by the skill's restriction of you having to use Fire Warriors exclusively in your deck. But the boost is nice, allowing you to get access to a powerful monster and some free equip spells to use. Remember when I mentioned those alien superpowers? Well, here's one of the skills that enables that. Baryon Battlemorph over 100 is usable by the 7 Baryon Emperors. Dumon, Alito, Garag, and Mizar are the ones that are currently in the game, while Vector, Marin, and Nash are very likely coming in the near future, and I see no reason why they wouldn't have this skill. A skill that can be used once you've summoned any of these characters' A6Ds monsters, even if the one you're using doesn't match the character you're playing. Once it's on the field, you can immediately transform the Emperor into their true form, unlocking 2 additional effects of the skill. The first generates a fresh copy of Rank Up Magic Baryon's Force on your field, allowing you to transform the Xyz monster already on your field into its superior Chaos Number form. And you don't even have to run the Rank Up Magic in your rank up magic spell in your deck, which could cause some issues if you can't manage to get the Xyz out. It also has an effect to return all the numbers on your in your graveyard or banishment back to your extra deck, which is great for the grind game, but I would be lying if this skill was any good. It's mostly here because I find the flavor of it incredibly cool. You get to go Super Saiyan! Look at it! It's so cool! The final skill I want to talk about has quite the history. Behold, Zane's Cyber Style. When Zane first released, his iconic Cyber Dragon would have been too high of a power level for the current format of the game to deal with, as he released very early. But he still needed a way to summon his ace monster, Cyber End Dragon. So, that's what this skill is for. While your life points are at 3,000 or below, you can generate a fresh copy of Proto Cyber Dragon for every 1,000 life points you are down from Duel Links' starting 4,000. For context, Proto Cyber Dragons are monsters that simply have the effect to become the original Cyber Dragon in name, allowing them to be used as fusion material for Cyber End Dragon and nothing else. Getting the minimum 1,000 damage can easily be done with the activation of cards like Cosmic Cyclone that pay 1,000 or more life points, which will get you a free Proto Cyber, with no restrictions. Back then, this was crazy as a tribute engine. As such, this skill was eventually updated to remove that feature since it was clearly an unintended side effect. Now, at this point, the Proto Cybers couldn't be tributed or used as any material for a summon except fusion. Which was fair, since Synchros had been out for a bit and Xyz were about to hit the field. And paying 2,000 life points with a single card to immediately convert that into a rank 3 would probably have been too strong for where the format was at the time. But this was fine for pure Cyber Dragon decks, as there was still some free material to use for fusion summoning. For some reason, Konami thought this was still too strong, and later nerfed the skill again to have a 2,000 life point minimum rather than 3,000. And prevent anything but fusion monsters from attacking while a Proto Cyber is on the field. This was annoying, but still perfectly viable in Cyber Dragon decks due to a card called Cybernetic Fusion Support, which automatically pays half your life points and to put you at 2,000 and is easily searchable by cards such as Cyber Dragon Core, which had released at this point. And since you can simply remove the Proto Cybers by using them as fusion material, this wasn't too big a deal. And gave Cyber Dragon a neat way to accrue material early on in the game, even if they went first and couldn't use the few Cyber Dragons they were now allotted. Apparently though, Konami still didn't think the skill was weak enough, because eventually they nerfed the skill again to summon a Cyber Dragon, the original, with no attack out of your main deck. You didn't get free cards. Additionally, the only thing you were allowed to summon until your next turn, including your opponent's turn, was Cyber End Dragon. No Rampage Dragon, no Chimera Tech Over Dragon, no anything else. Only Cyber End Dragon. Konami, why? The deck wasn't even that powerful. It was a neat, low-tier strategy that I very much enjoyed. On that personally upsetting note, I will end this video. I shall return later with more stuff, which will probably eventually include covering more skills. So, until then, goodbye.